What made you lose respect for someone? When they start showing interest in me, romantically or sexually. A coworker who seemed a decent dude for a while, then suddenly everything became a lie or blaming others. He would lie to the customer, then try to convince us it was the truth, made commitments that he never kept, and flat out lied about what he was doing to help you. It was so hard to work around because you never knew what he had or had not done. He'd throw his reports under the bus and twist any scenario into a quarter to half truth. Trump apparel. Not politics, just ethics. Anyone that gaslights. Done with them. You know? Went on a date with this guy, started yelling at the pizza man because the card reader wasn't working. 1. People who likes to frame others. My dad bump on my left shoulder at home, like how people bump into you to find trouble. I went what the heck and push him back as light as possible. At the same time my siblings went in the kitchen. He straight away went, "You guys saw that? He pushed me. You guys saw it with your own eyes. What the hell?" 2. People who doesn't keep their words. My brother of 4 years younger and I fell for the same girl. I thought it'll better to have our bro code or whatsoever, not to do anything which I thought we'd agreed. Next thing I know, I come back home with the girl wearing as short as she can, in my home. Don't need to guess what happened there. 3. People who preach about mental health, but doesn't follow it. Could be anything other than mental health. Probably same as 2, I sweat a lot in general and a lot more during workout. Then this person have to look, in a disgusted face, that I sweat a lot. I'm already anxious when I'm sweating while not working out, and this just made me feel just as bad for sweating. I was going to get married. Invited my best friend that said he already had family vacation plans that summer. They always go on the same dates every year, but assured me he would absolutely make it even if he had to join his family later. We were best friends after all. Few months later, near the RSVP confirmation deadline, called him just to confirm he was coming, answered me with just a test can't come. Not sorry, not a congratulations message, not an gift, not a proper apology. For no reason at all. Hurts like hell. Cut him off completely. Their opinions. When I heard my mom's brother belittle and ridicule my mom in front of all relatives, I not only lost respect for him but I hate him with a passion. I was not present at the party, and if I were, I would have defended my mom. But afterwards my mom told me not to interfere, but now she has no contact with her brother and neither do I. My father, telling me my mom deserved stage 3 cancer. I was 16 when she was diagnosed, because she divorced him, so Allah brought it up on her as punishment. My pretty much lifelong friends chose a girl they just got acquainted to like 3 months ago over me. Governors who let people riot and trash their cities. BLM for only caring about blacks who get killed by the police. If they are killed by other blacks, that seems to be okay. People who glorify criminals who get killed while committing crimes. I got really close to a girl over like 8 months and was very open about wanting a relationship with her. Obviously I respected boundaries too, and she seemed to reciprocate. Until she stopped talking to me much late last year. Come to find out she had moved in with her boyfriend, who she was with for over a year at that point. To make it worse, she apparently led on a mutual friend in much the same way. Ouch. Needless to say, I've lost respect. Finding out that a former friend who has anger issues, which we didn't make much of, verbally abused another close friend. When I was nearly thrown out by my mother because I wanted to grow a beard. It's just pathetic. I was interested in someone and had a date planned as well. But 2 days before that, her best friend of 10+ years came out of the closet expecting support, but instead, she told her friend to never talk to her again. So, even when I'm not gay/by myself, the homophobia of her made me cancel the date and we got pretty distant. My Phil promised the entire time that my wife was pregnant that he would provide child support for the child. We have no other family in the area, so this would have been incredibly valuable. As soon as it was inconvenient, he said he would no longer be able to provide that and he was sure we would understand. My wife never stood up to him, and she has been working minimum wage retail jobs for the past 15 years because of this. I respect both of them less because of this. Samuel Jackson simpin for Tunebeg. That and the weekend's drug usage. My dad is an alcoholic, and my aunt has completely blamed all of it on me and my half-sister as if it's our fault, and she told us if we didn't do anything about it he would die. Yet for the last 6 months/5 months around that time he treated me completely like dog shit, and he had just called me every single name in the book every time I want to get on the phone with my mom, so I betray my aunt after she said in quotations, "Your dad will die if you don't do something about it," like it's our fault. Hired a graphic designer. Talented girl. Designs were brilliant and impressed higher ups as well. Went out for drinks with her and some of her and my co-worker friends. We all end up back at her house after for card games, and for some reason the topic shifts to working and how white people can't do it. She goes, "Oh, I can walk to work," and proceeds to do a handstand against the wall and twerk upside down, for far too long and not well enough to cover for the fact that was a tad overweight at the time. Lost all respect for her that night. Left company sometime after, and that's all I can remember of her now. How spoiled they are. His dad bought him a 4.5 grand PC without him needing to repay a bit, and now is selling it and taking the money he's getting. He got it when he was 14. My still bragging online about buying stocks of major companies instead of their products, buying insurance, she sells them. How many corporate workers doesn't know how to save money? Then she doesn't have emergency fund use, so the hospital so they would admit her and operate on her for ectopic pregnancy. Also asks money from my husband to pay for their bill. Not to mention, they live on our house, not together, we live overseas, and uses our car. She even had the guts to ask us if we want to buy a rest house in the same place she's planning to buy one. Finding out they are a Zionist. Any instance where someone is revealed to be dishonest, or not accountable for their actions. For each instance, my respectometer drops a notch or more, depending on the severity of the situation. Eventually, the respectometer might potentially become fully depleted. This comment will never be seen, but here goes. 2 months before my wife and I were set to be married, her stepmom texted her and said she wasn't going to be at the wedding because she was divorcing my wife's father. My wife's biological mother died from a drunk driver when she was only 3. Stepmom has been there since wife was 11. She's the only mom my wife has ever had. Well, they ended up getting back together a month before the wedding and all was fine. Or so we thought. We just recently found out from my wife's sister that their mom left their dad because she wanted to fuck this doctor, but she didn't want it to count as cheating. So she left for a month and took my wife's sister with her and offered my wife's sister to do a threesome with her and Dr. Porn. I know. But my mother-in-law is not attractive and sister-in-law absolutely said no. After she fucked the doctor, she went to the club and tried her hardest to get young guys to hook up with her. She ended up fucking 3 other dudes, then looked at my sister-in-law and said, "I'm ready to go home to your dad now." They're together 4 years later, but I have lost all respect for her. My sister-in-law is traumatized by it because she was underage and forced to be there the whole time in the living room, so she could hear everything going on in the tiny apartment they were in. My father-in-law knows none of this, and thinks they were only going through a rough patch. He's the coolest dude ever. Sometimes I want to tell him, but it's not my place. Me and a close friend moved in a house together, and things got pretty toxic, but we both agreed wanted to remain friends even after he left. I probably shouldn't have, seeing as most of the toxicity was caused by him, but whatever. So after he moved out, he was making life difficult because of various reasons, not cancelling old utility accounts on our address, not fully cleaning his room after he left, etc. And so eventually I called him and told him to get his shit together. A few weeks go by, and my mom passes away. He grew up around her, so I figure he deserved to know. I called him, texted him, and he just ghosted me. I found out that he was ghosting me because I was mean to him on the phone about the aforementioned stuff and wasn't going to even acknowledge my mom's death until I apologized. At that point I realized what a fucking narcissistic sociopath this guy was, and I cut it off 100%. Everyone else in our circle also lost respect for him, and now he literally has no friends. He just sits around smoking weed with his girlfriend all day while they live in her parents' basement, literally.